How did I go from calling my husband cold all week to standing in my office lobby while a process server handed me divorce papers? Why did the papers include rules that started the same day, like money limits and a set plan for the kids, as if he had been ready for this for months? My name is Ondine Mercer, and I used to think I was the strong one in our marriage. I worked in medical billing, I handled the kids' papers, and I kept the house moving. When people looked at us, they saw a calm man and a capable wife. I liked that picture because it made me look safe and important. I also liked being the one who decided what was true. The week Graham's mother died, I told myself I was allowed to feel anything I wanted. He got the call at night. He stared at the wall and held the phone like it was heavy. He said his mum was gone. I said I was sorry. I also felt irritated, like this was a problem placed on my calendar without asking me first. I did not say that out loud. I only thought it, and I told myself thoughts did not count. In the kitchen the next morning, he packed a black suit into a small bag. He moved too fast, like he wanted to outrun his feelings. He asked if I could handle the kids while he went out of town. I said yes, but I made my voice tight so he would feel guilty. I wanted him to notice my sacrifice. He asked if I was upset with him. I said I was fine and he was being sensitive. That was my first lie of the week, but it felt clean. In the driveway, he knelt and hugged Sloane and Noah. Sloane held his neck and did not let go. Noah copied her and pressed his cheek on Graham's shoulder. Graham's eyes got wet. He asked them to be good for me. I nodded like a patient teacher. I wanted the moment to be about my patience, not his pain. When he got into the car, he looked back like he expected me to say something kind. I waved and smiled. As soon as the car turned the corner, I checked my phone. There was a message from Evan Shaw. He was not a close friend. He was a vendor rep who came by our office sometimes and made people laugh in the break room. His message said he was sorry about the funeral week and asked if I was okay. It was not romantic in the words, but it felt warm in my chest. I told myself it was normal to want comfort. I replied that I was tired and had a lot on me. He wrote back that I deserved a break. I stared at that line longer than I should have. Graham called later from the road. He asked how the kids were doing. I said they were fine. He asked if I had eaten. I said I had no time because I was doing everything alone. He did not argue. He just said thank you. That made me feel even more angry. If he had snapped, I could have pointed at him and said he was the problem. His calm took that away. I told myself his calm was fake. A few days later, we drove out for the public part of the funeral. I acted like the trip was heavy on me, like I was carrying grief too. In the car, Graham stayed quiet. He asked if I could hold Noah's hand in the parking lot, because there would be a crowd. I said I would, and I added that I hoped he was not going to ignore me in front of his family. He looked confused and asked what I meant. I said I meant he had been distant lately. He said his mother had died. I said I knew that, and that my feelings still mattered. At the funeral home parking lot, people stood in small groups with tired faces. Graham's sister Tessa walked toward us first. She hugged him hard. She nodded at me and said thanks for bringing the kids. I smiled and said, of course, like I was doing charity work. I kept my hands visible. I touched Graham's arm when his Aunt Dana looked at us. I wanted the scene to say, we are fine. I wanted the scene to hide everything I was thinking. Inside, Graham's father Dennis spoke to people like a man who had run out of words. When he saw the kids, he softened. He thanked me for coming. I said family was important. I made my voice gentle so anyone listening would think I was the steady one. Graham looked like he might break apart, but he held it in. I watched him, and instead of feeling care, I felt embarrassed. I hated being near raw feelings. Raw feelings made me feel out of control. Afterward, outside again, Graham asked if we could go back to the hotel early. He said he needed to rest before tomorrow's burial. I said yes, but I also told him he could try talking to me. He asked what I wanted him to say. I said I wanted him to notice that this was hard for me too. He looked at me for a moment, like he did not recognize me. He said he was sorry and he would try. That apology should have been enough, but I felt nothing. I only felt a small power rush, like I had made him bend. That night, when Graham fell asleep, I opened my phone under the blanket. Evan had sent another message. He asked how the day went. I typed that it was awful and I felt invisible. He replied that I should not be invisible. Then he wrote a line that made my stomach jump, because it was specific. He mentioned a room number, like he already knew where I was staying. It could have been a joke or a guess, but it felt like a door opening. I turned my phone face down fast, like it was hot. The next day we drove home. Graham was quiet again. He asked if I could stop posting about single mum life, because his family might see it. I said I posted because I needed support, and he should not shame me. He said he was not shaming me, he was asking. I said his asking felt like control. He went silent, and I told myself I had won the point. At a supermarket checkout on the way home, the cashier asked how my day was. I said I was exhausted because I had been doing everything alone this week. The cashier looked sympathetic. A woman behind me said she respected strong moms. I smiled and said thank you. I did not say my husband was burying his mother. I did not say he had been calling and asking about the kids and checking on me. I liked the story better when I was the main character. That evening, back at home, Graham carried the kids inside like he was older than his age. He put Sloane's shoes in the right spot and lined Noah's toys in a neat row, like he needed order to breathe. He asked if we could talk later, after bedtime. I said yes, and then I went into the bathroom and checked my phone again. Evan's name popped up in a message preview, and I felt relieved before I even read it. I told myself that relief was normal. I told myself Graham had left me emotionally, so I had the right to feel chosen by someone else. I told myself I was still a good wife because I came to the funeral and held his arm in public. Then I read the preview again, and I saw the room number line one more time, and I turned my phone face down on the sink like it could not hurt me if I could not see it. Back at work, I acted like nothing had changed. I wore a clean blouse and put on the face people trusted. In the open-plan office, the phones rang and the printers hummed. I liked that sound because it made life feel normal. I also liked how normal could hide things. Leah Patel met me near the coffee machine in the break room. She asked how the funeral went. I said it was sad and heavy. She leaned closer and asked if Graham was being supportive. I said he was distant and cold, like he did not notice my effort. She made a face and said he always looked too calm. I nodded, because her agreement felt like a gift. She asked if I had posted anything. I said I had, just small updates. She pulled up my story on her phone and laughed. She said people loved it when women spoke their truth. I told her I was only being honest. I posted more that day. I wrote short lines about carrying a family alone. I did not name Graham, but I painted him in the shadows. When someone commented that I deserved better, I liked the comment fast. When someone asked where my husband was, I wrote that grief made people selfish. I read my own words and felt proud. I told myself I was brave, not cruel. That evening, Graham came home quiet. He moved through the kitchen like he was trying not to touch anything. He asked how my day went. I said I was tired. He asked why my posts sounded angry. I said he was overreading them. He said his family had seen one post and asked if we were okay. I said his family liked to judge me and he should defend me. He asked why everything had to be public. I said, because silence protected the wrong person. He stared at me like he wanted to argue. Then he stopped. He said he did not want to fight. I said his refusal to fight was his way of controlling me. Later, when I went to put Sloane to bed, she asked why Daddy looked sad all the time. I told her he was stressed from work. She asked if he was mad at me. I said no, he just did not know how to talk about feelings. I kept my tone soft, like I was protecting her. I also liked how my words placed the problem inside him. After the kids slept, Graham asked if we could sit on the couch. He asked if there was anything I wanted to tell him. I said there was nothing to tell. He asked if I was happy. I said happiness was hard when a person felt invisible. He asked if he had made me invisible. I said he did, and I listed small things that sounded true if you did not check the dates. I said he left me alone, he did not listen, he did not see me. He said he had been at his mother's funeral. I said grief did not excuse neglect. He did not shout. He just looked down and rubbed his hands together. The next day, Evan messaged again. He asked if I was okay after everything. I told him I was fine, but I added that I felt alone in my own house. He replied that I did not have to feel alone if I did not want to. I stared at the screen and told myself it was only words. Still, my heart moved faster. I used the gym as my excuse. I started saying I needed self-care. When Graham asked why I needed to go so late, I said the evenings were quieter. He asked if I could go earlier. I said my schedule was not his business. He asked if I was meeting someone. I laughed and said he was being paranoid. I said he should trust me more. I said if he could not trust me, that was his problem. One night I parked at the gym and walked inside like I belonged there. I did not even plan to work out. I waited near the lobby chairs and pretended to scroll my phone. Evan came in like it was an accident. He said he was nearby and thought he saw my car. I said it was funny timing. He asked if I wanted a coffee from the machine. I said yes, and we sat in the corner where the music was loud enough to cover quiet talk. He asked how my marriage was going. I said Graham did not understand me. He said I deserved to be understood. He said a woman like me should not have to beg. I did not correct him. I let his words fill the empty spots in my head. I told him I felt guilty sometimes. He said guilt was just training from people who wanted me small. That line made me feel brave again. When Graham called, my phone buzzed and I watched it vibrate on my knee. Evan raised his brows like he was asking what I would do. I let it ring twice before I answered. Graham asked where I was. I said I was at the gym. He asked why there was so much echo. I said I was in the lobby. He asked if I could come home soon because Noah had woken up crying. I said he could handle one night and I needed time for myself. He went quiet and said okay. I stayed longer than I should have. Evan walked me to my car. He asked if I was safe driving. I said yes. He said he liked talking to me because I was real. I smiled and said I was just honest. He said he hoped I would not disappear. I said I would not. I drove home with my hands tight on the wheel and told myself nothing had happened. At home, Graham was in the hallway with Noah on his shoulder. Noah's hair stuck up like a small brush, and his eyes were half closed. Graham asked if I could take him. I took Noah and felt a sharp guilt for 1 second. Then I pushed it away by thinking Graham had made me do this. Graham asked again why I came home so late. I said he was interrogating me. He said he was not interrogating, he was asking. I said questions could be attacks. The next morning, I noticed the guest room door was open. Graham's pillow was there, and a folded blanket sat on the bed. He had not slept there before. He had always come to our bed, even after fights. Seeing that blanket felt like a challenge. I asked if he was punishing me. He said he needed sleep. I asked why he needed sleep away from me. He said he did not want to argue late at night. I said he was running away. He said he was choosing peace. Later that week, I saw his phone light up on the counter while he washed dishes. I should not have looked, but I did. A calendar reminder showed for half a second. It said, downtown 10:40 a.m. It looked like a meeting. When I asked what it was, he said it was personal. I asked if he was hiding something. He said he was handling life. I said that sounded like an excuse. He did not explain. That night, when the kids were asleep, I heard a small sound from the guest room. It was a soft click, like a drawer being locked. The sound was calm, not angry. That calm made my skin prickle more than shouting would have. I stood in the hallway and told myself it was nothing. I told myself he was being dramatic. I told myself I still had the story, and the story would keep me safe. The weekend after the guest room started, Leah invited me to a rooftop bar downtown. She said I needed air and music and people. I told Graham I was going out for one drink. He asked if we could have a quiet night at home instead. I said I had been quiet for years. He asked who I was going with. I said a friend from work. He asked what time I would be back. I said he should not track me like a child. At the bar, the crowd was thick and loud. The lights were soft and the music made the floor shake. Leah handed me a drink and said I looked free. I liked that word. It made me feel like a hero in my own story. She lifted her phone and asked if she could record a short clip for her story. I said yes. I told myself it was harmless. Leah started asking me questions like we were on a show. She asked how I was doing with everything. I said I was holding it together alone. She asked if Graham was helping. I said he was present in the house but not present with me. People around us heard parts of it and turned their heads like they wanted more. I lowered my voice, but I made sure it was loud enough to sound dramatic. I said grief had made him even more distant, and I said I was tired of being the only adult. Leah laughed and told me I should say it louder. I said I did not want to be mean. Then I said something mean anyway, wrapped in a smile. I said Graham acted like a saint because he did not yell, but silence was its own cruelty. Leah nodded and made a big face like that proved my point. I could feel the crowd's energy. It felt like a warm wave pushing me forward. My phone buzzed, and Evan's name flashed. I did not answer. Leah saw it and raised her brows. She asked if I had a secret fan. I said it was nothing. She asked if I was sure. I said men only liked me when I was unhappy, and that was their problem. She laughed too hard, and I laughed with her because I did not want her to stop. At one point, someone asked where my husband was. I said he was at home acting sad and serious, like the world owed him attention. I said I was not a widow, so I did not have to live like one. That line got a sharp little gasp, then laughter. I felt a quick sting in my stomach. I ignored it and lifted my glass like the sting was just jealousy. Leah posted a clip and tagged me. She added a caption about women who carry the whole house. People started reacting fast. Hearts, fire emojis, comments that said I deserved better. Every time my phone lit up, I felt stronger. I told myself this was proof. If so many people agreed, then I had to be right. Near midnight, Graham texted and asked if I was okay. I did not answer right away. I waited and watched the screen fade. When I finally wrote back, I said I was fine and on my way soon. I was not on my way soon. I stayed because leaving would mean the night was over, and I did not want the night to end. When I finally walked out, the air was cold and my cheeks were warm. Graham's car was at the curb. He had come without making a scene. He stepped out and asked if we could go home. I said he was acting like my father. He said he was worried because it was late. I said his worry felt like control. He asked why I sounded angry when he was trying to help. I said he liked to look helpful in public, and that was his real hobby. Leah came outside too, holding her phone up like a microphone. She asked if Graham wanted to say hi to the fans. Graham looked at her and then looked at me. He asked if we could leave now. I said he was embarrassing me. He said he did not want to talk in front of strangers. I said we were not strangers, because everyone already knew our situation. That was not true, but it sounded confident. In the car, Graham drove slowly. He asked if I thought my posts were fair. I said fair was not the point was truth. He asked what truth I meant. I said the truth that he had left me alone. He reminded me he had buried his mother. I said that did not erase my feelings. He did not argue. He only nodded once, like he was filing my words away. The next morning, my phone buzzed non-stop. Leah's clip had been shared. Someone had tagged Graham too, with a joke about him being the mood killer. I watched the views climb and felt a weird mix of pride and fear. I told myself he deserved it. I told myself he had started this by being distant. I did not say out loud that I was the one pushing it into daylight. At work, I saw people glance at me, then look away, fast. One coworker asked if I was okay at home. I said yes, but I added that it was complicated. I let my eyes look shiny like I might cry. The coworker said I was strong. I nodded like it hurt to be strong. The praise landed like a reward. That evening, Graham suggested a walk by the river after the kids went to bed. He said fresh air might help. I agreed because I wanted a stage where I could look reasonable. On the riverside promenade, people passed us with dogs and coffee cups. Graham asked if I understood how my jokes made him look. I said he cared too much about his image. He said it was not about image, it was about respect. I said respect followed results, and I had results. He asked what that meant. I said it meant people finally listened to me. He asked if there was someone else. He did not accuse, and he did not raise his voice. That made me furious. I said he was paranoid and cruel for thinking that during a grief month. He asked how asking a question was cruel. I said because it made me feel like a criminal. He said he did not call me a criminal. I said the tone did. We got home and he went straight to the guest room. I heard his phone make a soft beep behind the door, like a setting changed. I stood in the hallway and told myself it was nothing. Still, I felt like he was building a wall I could not climb. A few days later, Dennis invited us to a family dinner at a restaurant with a long table. He said it would be good for the kids to see everyone. I agreed because I wanted witnesses. At the table, people asked how we were doing. I spoke first. I said it had been hard carrying the home while Graham was checked out. I said it calmly, like a report. Graham sat still and looked at his plate. Tessa stared at me and asked what I meant by checked out. I said he was not emotionally present. Graham asked if we could not do this here. I said he always wanted privacy because privacy protected him. Dennis told me the kids were listening. I said I was only speaking the truth. Sloane looked between us like she was watching a tennis match she did not understand. When dessert came, Graham stood up and said he was taking the kids home early. He asked Dennis to walk him out. He did not look at me. I watched them leave, calm and quiet. The restaurant noise kept going around me, but I felt a strange drop inside, like the crowd did not matter anymore. I pulled out my phone to feel better, and I saw a new message from my supervisor asking if I had time for a private meeting the next morning. The next morning, I walked into work like I owned the place. My stomach still felt tight from the restaurant, but I fixed my face before I reached the front doors. In the lobby, I greeted the security guard and smiled like a normal person. I told myself adults did not fall apart. Adults managed the story. My supervisor, Ms. Juno Park, asked me to step into a small HR room. She did not call it HR, but it felt like that kind of room. The chairs were too clean, the table was too empty. She asked how I was doing. I said I was fine. She asked if everything at home was stable. I said yes. Then I added that my husband was grieving, and it made him hard to live with. I said it softly, like I was being fair. She said a video with my name had been shared in our work circles. She said patients and vendors were not supposed to see personal drama tied to the clinic. She asked if I understood the policy about online behavior. I said I did. I said it was not drama, it was my truth. She asked if the post could harm the workplace reputation. I said no, because I never named the company. She said people could still connect dots. I told her people love to judge women. She said this was not about judging women, it was about professionalism. She asked if I could keep social posts away from work networks. I said I could try, but I also said I could not control what other people shared. That was a half-truth. I knew Leah loved to share. I also knew I liked when Leah shared. Ms. Park asked if I wanted to file a request for leave because of stress. I said I did not need help. I said I was strong. She nodded, but her eyes stayed careful. She asked me to sign a note that said we had discussed it. I signed because refusing would look guilty. At lunch, Leah asked how the meeting went. I said it was fine. I told her Ms. Park was policing me. Leah rolled her eyes and said bosses loved controlling women. I nodded, and I let that line settle into my head like a blanket. It was easier to blame the room than to blame myself. After work, I went to pick up Sloane from school. The pickup line was slow and full of honking. Parents stared at their phones or talked through open windows. I saw Graham's car ahead of me. He was early. That annoyed me. I liked being the first face the kids saw. I liked being the center. When Sloane climbed into my back seat, she looked at the front passenger seat and asked where Daddy was. I said he was busy. She asked why he did not sit with us at dinner. I said he was tired. She asked why he did not laugh anymore. I said he had a serious mood because of Grandma's passing. Sloane asked if Daddy was mad at me. I said no, he was just stressed. And I said he sometimes took stress out on people without noticing. I used careful words. I did not say anything big. Still, I felt a small thrill because my words placed the shadow on him again. At the playground, Sloane ran to the slide. Noah waddled behind her with his little arms out. I sat on a bench and watched other parents. Two moms whispered and looked my way. I could not tell if it was about me or not, but I assumed it was. I told myself people always watched. I told myself I had to stay ahead of them. Graham arrived 10 minutes later with a small bag of snacks. He did not look at me first. He looked at the kids. He asked Sloane if she wanted apple slices. She nodded and sat beside him on the grass. Noah climbed onto his knee like it was natural. Watching that made my chest feel hot. I told myself he was performing. I told myself he wanted to look like the perfect dad in public. Graham asked if we could talk for a minute away from the kids. I followed him a few steps. He asked if I had been telling Sloane that he was taking stress out on people. I pretended to be surprised. I asked why he thought that. He said Sloane had repeated a line that sounded like an adult sentence. I said kids repeated random things. He asked me again, calm. I said I was only explaining grief to her. He said he wanted us to keep adult conflict away from the kids. I said he was acting like I was dangerous. He said he was acting like a parent. At home that evening, the kitchen felt split in half. Graham cooked pasta without asking me. He put 2 plates on the table for the kids. Then he ate standing at the counter. I asked if he was too good to sit with me. He said he was tired. I said he was always tired when I needed him. He said he was trying to avoid fights. I said avoiding fights was the same as ignoring me. I noticed new things that week. The fridge had shelves that were not shared anymore. There were 2 mugs on opposite ends of the counter like markers. On the table, I saw 3 neat stacks of papers with plain labels. Household, utilities, bank. It looked like a boring office inside my house. I laughed and asked if he was starting a project plan for our marriage. He did not laugh. He said he was organizing. I asked why. He said because the kids needed stability. Near the front door, a yellow sticky note was stuck to the wall hook. It said, "Bring forms." I stared at it longer than I should have. I asked what forms. Graham said it was just something he had to remember. I asked for what. He said it was personal. That word hit me the way a locked door hits. I felt excluded, and exclusion made me want to strike. Later, I went to the supermarket to grab milk. At the checkout, I saw Graham's name on a notification that popped up on my phone. It was a banking alert. I did not even know I had alerts like that. It showed a small transfer I did not recognize, like money was being moved into a different place. My fingers went cold. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself he was not allowed to do that without me. I told myself I would confront him. At home, I asked if he had opened a new account. He said he was budgeting. I asked if he was hiding money. He said he was planning for bills. I said planning sounded like leaving. He said he was planning for the kids. I said the kids were not a shield. He said the kids were the point. That night, when the house went quiet, I heard a low hum from behind the guest room door. It sounded like a shredder running for a few seconds, then stopping. I stood there and listened like a child outside a classroom. I told myself he was shredding junk mail. Still, my mind created pictures I did not like, paper becoming dust, secrets becoming clean. In the morning, I noticed a new key on his keyring when it lay on the counter. It was not the house key. It looked newer, brighter. I asked what it opened. Graham said it was backup access. I asked to see it. He slid the keys into his pocket and said no. He did not raise his voice. He did not threaten. He just said no, like it was final. I went into the bathroom and stared at my face in the mirror. I tried to look like a woman wronged by a cold man. I tried to feel sure again. But all I could feel was the sense that Graham was moving pieces without me, and I could not see the board. My anger did not calm after I saw the new key. It grew in my chest like a second heartbeat. I started watching Graham more, not like a wife, but like a manager watching an employee who might quit. I wanted to catch him doing something wrong. If I could catch him, I could make him the villain again. On Monday night, I waited for a moment when the kids were busy. Sloane was coloring at the table and Noah was pushing a toy truck along the baseboard. Graham stood near the sink, rinsing plates in a slow line. I walked into the stairwell landing and called his name like it was a meeting. He stepped closer and asked what I needed. I said we needed to talk now, not later, because later was his favorite way to avoid me. He said he was not avoiding me. He was trying to keep peace. I said peace was just his word for silence. He asked why I kept pushing a fight. I said because he had already left me inside his head. He asked what that meant. I said he did not look at me the same, and he did not touch me the same, and he did not even ask how my day was, unless it was a script. He said he asked every day. I said his questions did not count if his heart was not in them. He said he did not know how to prove his heart to someone who did not trust him. I said he should try harder. I moved closer on the steps and blocked his way without thinking. He asked me to move because the kids were right there. I said the kids were always there, and that was his excuse for everything. He asked why I had been coming home late. I said I was working on myself. He asked why working on myself needed so many hours. I said because I was the only one doing work in this marriage. He looked at me like he wanted to say more, then he stopped. He said he would not argue in front of the kids. I said he was using them as a shield. He said the kids were not a shield. They were a boundary. When he stepped around me, I felt insulted. He did not beg. He did not plead. He did not even raise his voice. That calm felt like disrespect. I followed him into the kitchen and said he was acting like a judge. He said he was acting like a parent and a homeowner. I laughed and asked if he was planning to grade me too. He did not laugh back. The next day, I told Evan I needed to work late. I did not even try to make it a good lie. I told myself I earned the right to lie because I was unhappy. Evan replied fast and suggested a co-working space near the freeway. He said it was quiet and no one would bother us. I told myself it was a safe place to talk. I did not tell myself the other truth, which was that I liked the secret. At the co-working space, people sat with laptops and headphones, looking busy and important. I signed in like I belonged there. Then I walked to the back where the light was low. Evan was already at a small table with 2 coffees. He asked if I was okay. I said no, because my husband was turning into a stranger. Evan said maybe my husband wanted me to feel small. I said yes. That was it. As if that explained everything. Evan said I deserved someone who chose me every day. I did not correct him. I let his words push on my weak spots. He asked if Graham knew about us. I said there was no us, and I said Graham had no right to ask questions anyway. Evan said questions were a trap. He said a smart woman did not answer traps. I smiled because smart woman sounded like praise. He asked what I wanted. I said I wanted respect. I said respect followed results, and I had results. Evan nodded like he understood. My phone buzzed once with a message from Graham. He asked if I could pick up milk on the way home. That small, normal request made me angry, like he was pretending nothing was wrong. I did not answer right away. Evan watched my face and asked what it was. I said it was nothing. Evan said I should not run home every time Graham snapped his fingers. I said Graham did not snap his fingers, but the idea still pleased me. It made me feel like the strong one again. When I left the co-working space, I stayed in my car for a minute before driving. I looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror. I told myself I was not a bad wife. I told myself I was a wife with needs. I told myself Graham had started this by failing me emotionally. I repeated that line until it felt true. At home, Graham was in the living room putting Noah's toys into a bin. Sloane was already in pajamas. Graham asked how my night was. I said work was stressful. He asked if I ate dinner. I said no because I was too busy. He nodded like he believed me. That annoyed me too. I wanted him to accuse me so I could cry and call him controlling. His calm stole my favorite moves. Later, I heard his phone alarm from the guest room. It was a short sound, not loud, just a reminder. I caught a few words on the screen when he walked out to turn it off. It said, paper drop. I pretended I did not see it. I asked what that meant anyway, like I was joking. He said it was nothing, just a reminder. I asked for what. He said for something personal. I asked if he was meeting someone. He said no. He said he was handling tasks. I said tasks sounded like planning. He said adults planned. The next day, Marin called and asked why Graham was not answering her messages. I said he was being petty. She said maybe he was depressed. I said depression did not give him the right to punish me. Marin asked if I had done something. I said no, and I said Graham was just reacting to my honesty. Marin said honesty could be sharp. I said sharp was better than fake. That weekend, I tried to force control again. I said we should go out as a family, like nothing was broken. Graham said he would take the kids to see Dennis for a visit. I asked why he needed his father's help. He said the kids wanted to see their grandfather. I said he was turning them against me. He asked how seeing their grandfather turned them against me. I said it was the way he did it, calm and quiet, like he was building a separate world. In the driveway, he loaded small bags into the trunk. He buckled Noah into the car seat with careful hands. Sloane climbed in with her stuffed animal. I stood there and felt the panic rise. I asked where he was going exactly and when he would be back. He said he would be back Sunday evening. I asked if he was leaving me. He said he was giving everyone space. I said space was abandonment. He said space was safety. I followed him to the driver's side door and told him he could not do this. He asked me to step back so he could close the door. I said he was acting like I was dangerous again. He said he was acting like he did not want a scene in front of the kids. I said the kids should see what he was doing to me. He said the kids should not carry adult mess. He looked at me then, not angry, not sad, just steady. He asked if I had anything to tell him before he left. I said no. I said he was the one acting strange. He nodded once like he had expected that answer. Then he said, in the same calm voice, that he would handle everything properly from now on. I went to work that morning with a tight smile and a fast walk, like speed could fix damage. The office tower lobby smelled like polished stone and coffee. I told myself I was still in control. I told myself Graham could sulk in the guest room forever if he wanted, but he could not actually do anything. I kept repeating that idea because it felt safer than the truth. At my desk, I saw Ms. Park standing near the glass doors. She asked if I could come down to the lobby for a minute. I said I was busy. She said it would be quick. Her voice was too careful. That careful tone made my throat go dry. In the lobby, a man in a plain jacket stepped toward me. He asked if I was Ondine Mercer. I said yes. He asked me to confirm my address. I hesitated. Then I did it, because people were watching, and I did not want to look guilty. He said he was serving me legal documents. He held out an envelope and a packet clipped together. I took them like they were heavier than paper. Ms. Park did not touch the papers. She only watched my face. She said we would talk about this later, and she asked if I needed a private room. I said no. I said I was fine. My voice sounded thin, but I tried to make it sharp. I looked down and saw Graham's name printed where a spouse's name should be. The words petition and temporary jumped out at me. My hand started to shake, and I told myself that was anger, not fear. The process server explained the basics in a calm, practiced way. He said there were temporary orders included and that I should read them. I wanted to argue with him, but he was not Graham. He was only a messenger. I could not punish a messenger and still look like the good one. I flipped pages too fast. I saw lines about money, about accounts, about not moving assets. I saw lines about communication and not posting certain things. Then I saw the parenting schedule. It had dates and times like a school calendar. It had pickup points and rules about exchanges. I felt heat rise in my face because the schedule started right away. I told myself Graham was trying to scare me. I told myself it was a bluff. But a bluff did not look like this. This looked neat. This looked prepared. I scanned further and saw references to evidence. It did not show everything in full, but it did not need to. It listed dates that matched the funeral week. It listed my late gym nights. It listed the rooftop video and my posts. It listed bank transfers. It listed location records. It listed screenshots. My stomach turned when I saw one line tied to the worst night. The night Graham was at his mother's funeral events. The night I told myself I was just talking, and then went further than talking. The packet did not describe anything graphic. It did not have to. It only pointed to the proof that I had been with Evan at a hotel while my husband was burying his mother. I felt my mouth go dry, like my body was trying to hide the fact inside me. I looked up, expecting Graham to burst in like a villain. That is what I had trained myself to expect. But he did not burst. He was already there, across the lobby, standing near a column, like he was waiting for an elevator. Dennis stood a few steps behind him. Graham's face was calm, not proud, not cruel. He did not stare at me like he wanted to win. He looked like a man who had already decided what was right and did it. Dennis held Noah's small jacket folded over his arm, like the kids were nearby or had just been dropped off. That detail cut me more than the papers. It meant the day was already organized without me. It meant my panic was late. I walked toward Graham, and Miss Park said my name like a warning. I ignored her. I wanted to force a scene, because scenes were my weapon. But when I got closer, Graham kept the same distance, like a line on the floor. He asked if I had received the documents. I said yes. I asked what he was doing to me. He said he was doing it properly. I said he was trying to ruin me. He said he was trying to protect the kids and follow the process. I said he was punishing me because he could not handle grief. He said grief did not make him break the law, and it did not make him threaten anyone. He said grief made him see clearly. I told him it was not what it looked like. He asked what it was then. I said it was loneliness and stress and one bad week. He said it was a choice, repeated many times, with planning and lies. I said he had been distant first. He said distance was not an excuse to betray. He said he had not screamed, and he had not hit, and he had not done anything illegal. He said he only collected what was true and put it where it belonged. Dennis did not argue with me. He only said the kids would follow the schedule, and they would be safe. His voice was flat, like this was not a debate. I tried to change tactics. I said we could talk at home. Graham said we would only talk about the kids, and only in writing if needed. I said that was extreme. He said it was healthy. The elevator dinged. Graham stepped forward with Dennis. Before he entered, he looked at me one last time and said I could read the orders again if I was confused. He said the start date was clear. I looked back down at the parenting page, and my eyes landed on the line that said the schedule started today.